the ways in which we are investigating the problem of decreased empathy in our rapidly changing world. By embracing Stoicism, one can rediscover compassion, discernment, and authenticity in their lives. We reveal how manipulations, falsehoods, and dominant behaviors mirror our internal struggle in a way that goes beyond simply exposing them. By arguing that our true essence is not in technology but rather in the capacity to connect with each other in a humane manner, we propose a path that leads to understanding and personal transformation. We would be delighted to have you join us until the very end as we investigate together the means by which we can regain empathy, confront the truth, and cultivate freedoms in our lives. However, this is not merely an invitation to watch, rather, it is a call to progress. The absence of empathy in a world that is operating at a breakneck speed. Despite the fact that technology is able to connect us in ways that were previously unimaginable, one essential component, empathy, appears to be disappearing in the blink of an eye. To what extent, however, does this fundamental human trait appear to be diminishing in contemporary relationships? The Stoic philosophy, a way to understand and connect with others. Stoicism is a philosophy that has been around for centuries, and it teaches us that it is essential to look beyond ourselves and to comprehend that every individual carries their own universe of struggles and triumphs. Think for a second about what it would be like to spend a day in the position of another person, to experience their suffering, to rejoice in their successes, and to have a genuine comprehension of the challenges they face. The essence of compassion and mutual respect is what Stoicism preaches, and this is what it teaches. In a time when it appears to be more important than we. A courageous step toward building healthier relationships and more resilient communities is to acknowledge that the inability to put oneself in the shoes of another person is not a flaw that we possess, but rather a flaw that belongs to third parties. It is not a journey that is simple, but it is unquestionably a journey that is worth exploring. In the end, the true strength of a society is not determined by its capacity to advance technologically, rather, it is determined by its capacity to maintain its human characteristics, using manipulative tactics within the complex web of human relationships. It is clear that manipulation is a treacherous path that is replete with traps that can divert those who are not vigilant from their own interests. The game of shadows is one in which intentions are concealed and movements are calculated to influence, frequently without leaving any traces of its insidious presence. However, how can one successfully navigate these perilous waters without becoming disoriented? In the face of deception, Stoicism serves as a helpful guiding light. With its deep roots in the pursuit of authenticity and inner freedom, Stoicism provides a guiding light for those who are looking for direction. Developing a shield of discernment is something that this ancient philosophy encourages us to do. By doing so, we acquire the ability to look past outward manifestations and to question the intentions that lie concealed behind the words and actions of other people. The philosophy of Stoicism teaches us that true freedom originates from within, from an emotional independence that enables us to make choices that are in accordance with our most fundamental principles, rather than with the desires of other members of society. By listening, recognizing, and asking questions, one can strengthen their discernment. However, what are some ways to improve this discernment? Listening is the first step, and it is important to pay attention not only to what is said, but also to how it is said, and to what is not said. Being attentive to one's own feelings, recognizing when something does not seem right, and most importantly, having the courage to question and seek the truth, even when it is inconvenient, are all components of this trait. When you choose the path of Stoicism, you are choosing authenticity over manipulation in a world that frequently places a higher value on appearance than on an individual's essence. Lying on a regular basis the gradual erosion of trust. But in a world where the truth is frequently concealed by shadows, the trust that people have in one another is silently eroded when they tell lies on a regular basis. Stoicism, with its history of illumination, leads us down the path of integrity and honesty, instructing us to place the utmost importance on truth. When waves of dishonesty try to drag us down, it encourages us to be living examples of authenticity, holding steadfast even when they try to drag us down. It is not enough to simply speak the truth, we must also establish clear boundaries with those who flirt with lying, safeguard our emotional space, and maintain genuine relationships in order to follow this path. The Stoic philosophy serves to remind us that although we are unable to control the actions of other people, we do have complete control over how we respond to those actions. Making the courageous decision to respond with honesty and dignity, as well as to live with the truth, is an act of resistance against the tide of lies that threatens to engulf us. By doing so, we are able to learn how to construct sturdy bridges of trust over which we can walk without fear, secure in the knowledge that we are cultivating an atmosphere in which the truth not only can survive but also flourish. Behavior that is characterized by control is a manifestation of unease. What we find when we are confronted with the urge to control is a manifestation of human insecurity, a fruitless attempt to bring order out of the chaos that exists within interpersonal relationships. This kind of behavior not only reveals a profound lack of trust, but it also undermines the fundamental principles of personal autonomy and mutual respect. Stoicism is the practice of making boundaries and valuing freedom. Stoicism is a timeless wisdom that teaches us to value individual freedom, to nurture our autonomy, and to establish healthy boundaries against attempts at dominance. Stoicism teaches us to do all of these things. Consequently, it inspires us to develop the inner fortitude that is necessary to withstand these controlling behaviors, thereby fostering an atmosphere that is characterized by respect and independent thought. By engaging in the practice of Stoicism, we acquire the ability to safeguard our personal space, our mental faculties, and our path, thereby defending our fundamental liberty against any attempt to usurp it. Despite the fact that we are able to show love and support to one another, we must, above all else, protect our own liberty and well-being. This is a powerful reminder. The observation of a patchwork of relationships that cause problems. But taking a look at a collection of problematic relationships from our past can serve as a mirror, reflecting not only the circumstances we have been through, but also aspects of our own being that may require greater attention and care. It is not possible that this series of turbulent relationships is the result of random chance, rather. It suggests that there is a significant opportunity to learn about how we connect with other people and how we handle conflicts. A guide to self-reflection and personal development through Stoicism. A philosophy that has been passed down through the ages, Stoicism encourages us to seek social harmony and cultivate an upright character. It also encourages us to engage in self-reflection as a means of better comprehending and enhancing our interactions with others. By looking at things through this lens, we are prompted to examine ourselves, to question not only how we respond to other people, but also how we contribute to the dynamics of the relationships we have with them. This exercise in introspection is not about identifying flaws, rather, it is about shedding light on ways to construct connections that are healthier and more resilient. We learn to value each relationship as an opportunity to practice empathy, open communication, and mutual respect when we embrace Stoicism. These are essential elements for a robust and harmonious social fabric, and we learn to value each relationship as these opportunities. Responses that are calm and respectful are examples of aggressiveness. A genuine challenge is presented when one must confront aggressiveness, whether it be in the form of harsh words or sudden actions. We learn from Stoic teachings that emphasize the importance of justice, calmness, and respect, that responding in kind is not the way to go. Stoicism recommends that when confronted with aggressive behavior, one should remain calm and establish clear boundaries, demonstrating that respect is of the utmost importance. The objective is not to get involved in the fight, rather, it is to comprehend the reason that led to the aggressive behavior. It is possible that we are concealing some pain or frustration, but it is essential to demonstrate that everyone has their own space and limits when dealing with this situation, and it is important to be firm while still being fair. In addition to preserving our tranquility, this affords the other individual the opportunity to pause and reflect on the situation. The Stoic approach encourages us to look for solutions that truly address the problem while always respecting the other person. Since aggressiveness is frequently a disguised cry for help, the Stoic approach encourages us to look for solutions rather than to strike back. One of the symptoms of immaturity is a lack of responsibility. It is clear that a person has a long way to go in terms of their integrity and maturity when they refuse to take responsibility for the actions that they have taken. Stoicism is a philosophical perspective on life that places personal responsibility at the center of the development of our traits and characteristics. It is essential for us to take responsibility for our actions, whether they are positive or negative, in order to develop as individuals and make a contribution to a society that is more just and harmonious. It's not enough to simply acknowledge that you made a mistake. You also need to learn from it and improve your performance the next time. This philosophical approach teaches us that every action has a part to play in the grand tapestry of life, and that the commitment to being true to ourselves and to others is the first step in preserving social harmony and order. Not only does accepting responsibility for our actions strengthen our character, but it also gives us the ability to demonstrate that we are in charge of our lives and the decisions that we make. Building real connections while maintaining a superficial charm. A house that is constructed without a foundation is analogous to relying solely on superficial charm, which is the kind of charm that attracts attention but is devoid of substance. It is possible that it will impress at first, but it will not last. Stoicism, which is an ancient approach to wisdom that continues to resonate strongly with us, instructs us to look beyond outward appearances and to value who we are on the inside. Relationships that are genuine and meaningful are built on the foundation of our genuine qualities and authenticity. Although it is true that first impressions are important, it is also true that they are not everything. There is a great deal more that underpins the connections that endure, the ones that are there for us through both the good times and the bad. Their foundation is built on trust, honesty, and respect for one another. The Stoic philosophy encourages us to be genuine, to reveal who we really are, and to look for other people who share our values and beliefs. By doing so, we are able to forge strong bonds that are not merely for the purpose of showing off, but rather for the purpose of sharing a genuine life. Incredible! You have a thirst for information. Please leave a comment if you have felt that this content has provided you with something. In search of information. Okay, let's proceed. Pressure to advance relationships in a short amount of time. In many cases, the fact that a relationship is being pushed to advance more quickly than it should is an indication that something is not quite right. This could be a need for control or a heavy emotional dependency. Stoicism, with its advice that has stood the test of time, emphasizes the significance of being patient and the value of giving things your full attention. True relationships are not constructed in a hurry, but rather through a mutual respect for the development of natural growth and an understanding that is developed in a calm manner. It's possible that our anxiety or a desire to fill the voids within ourselves with the presence of another person is the cause of this urge to rush things. Stoicism, on the other hand, serves to remind us that the power of any human connection is derived from careful contemplation, profound comprehension, and patient endurance. It is important to respect both our own time and the time of others, and there is value in waiting for things to develop in a natural way. This will allow us to construct something that is not only long-lasting but also makes sense. To disregard your boundaries when someone disregards or crosses our boundaries, it is not only a sign of a lack of respect, but it is also a clear indication that they are attempting to exert control over us. The philosophy of Stoicism, which is known for its ability to provide us with guidance, emphasizes the significance of our personal freedom and the establishment of boundaries that safeguard our mental and emotional health. These boundaries are similar to an invisible wall that protects us and enables us to relate to other people in a way that is beneficial to our well-being. When it comes to maintaining a relationship that is mutually respectful, it is essential to respect personal boundaries. It is imperative that we take a stand and reaffirm our boundaries whenever they are violated. This ensures that we demonstrate that our integrity is a top priority. Stoicism instills in us the ability to be firm while still being fair, and to cultivate relationships that are founded on genuine respect, in which each individual perceives and appreciates the space of the other. It serves as a reminder that in order to cultivate genuine connections, we must not only respect the boundaries of others, but also ensure that we respect our own. Inconsistencies in narratives. Picture yourself strolling along a path in the middle of a thick forest. As one moves forward, it appears that the path is shifting. At this moment you see a bridge, but then it vanishes, and in its place, a raging river appears. This path is similar to the stories that we are told. It is full of alterations and details that in some cases do not fit together. Stoicism, an ancient philosophy that continues to reverberate with its wisdom in the modern day, encourages us to be like explorers of this forest, searching for truth among the trees of dishonesty and paths that change with the wind. Stoicism makes us question, am I on the right path? In order to avoid becoming disoriented in the midst of a forest of lies, it teaches us to make use of our internal compass, which is discernment. In situations where we are confronted with inconsistencies, it is our integrity that acts as a compass, pointing us in the right direction and assisting us in remaining on course. We are compelled to question, to search for the essence, the true nature of things, when we are confronted with stories that change shape like clouds in the sky. This is an invitation to not only listen, but to listen attentively, distinguishing between what is true and what is true, and what is false, as well as between what is permanent and what is ephemeral. Along this path, honesty becomes our most trusted ally, and as a result, we are able to strengthen our relationships as well as our own sense of spiritual tranquility. In addition to establishing a legacy of trust and respect for ourselves, we also establish a legacy of trust and respect for those with whom we share our journey when we exercise discernment and maintain our integrity. It is through this method that we are able to keep our equilibrium and proceed in a manner that is guided by the light of truth and honesty, even when we are confronted with inconsistencies and changes. Society is a complex structure that is built on laws and norms that ensure order and collective well-being. Disregard for laws and social norms is a sign of disrespect for society. When individuals make the decision to disregard these rules, they do so out of self-interest, without taking into consideration the effects that their actions will have on the group. Not only is this behavior self-centered, but it also has the potential to be destructive, putting at risk the stability and harmony that we hold close to our hearts. Stoicism is a philosophical school that teaches us to respect and adhere to the norms that have been established by society. Stoicism places a high value on justice, mutual respect, and doing what is best for the common good. The ancient philosophy that we are discussing encourages us to contemplate how our actions impact not only other people but also the environment that we are surrounded by, thereby fostering peaceful and fruitful coexistence. Respecting laws and social norms is more than just a requirement, it is an act of acknowledging the significance of residing in a community in which individual members have the opportunity to flourish. To achieve this, it is necessary to prioritize the well-being of the group over the desires of individuals, and to always strive to act in a manner that contributes to the maintenance of social order and harmony. Not only does this stance benefit society as a whole, but it also assists us in developing important personal qualities such as empathy, responsibility, and integrity, which are all extremely valuable. By adhering to these principles in our daily lives, we foster a world that is more equitable and well-balanced, one in which every individual is afforded the chance to develop and make a positive contribution to the common good. Isolation is a practice that is frequently utilized by individuals who are seeking to exert control or manipulate others, thereby severing the ties that connect us with our support network. Not only does this practice have a negative impact on our mental health, but it also undermines our autonomy, which is an essential characteristic of our existence. Stoicism, on the other hand, places intense importance on the freedom of the individual, the support of one another, and the peaceful coexistence of people. There is no doubt that this philosophy teaches us to be resilient and self-sufficient, but it also teaches us to acknowledge the significance of maintaining connections with other people. This connection is not seen as a dependency, but rather as a reflection of our shared humanity, a social fabric that strengthens us against the challenges that life throws at us. Stoicism is a philosophy that encourages us to protect our autonomy and emotional well-being when we are confronted with attempts to isolate ourselves. We are reminded of the power that can be found in community, in the ability to support one another, and in the ability to ask for assistance when it is required. Instead of giving in to feelings of isolation, we are encouraged to fortify our connections and construct bridges that will enable us to remain connected to those who are supportive of us and consider us valuable. Another way to think about projection is as if you were looking into a mirror and seeing the reflection of another person. It is easier to avoid confronting our own shortcomings if we are able to attribute to other people feelings or characteristics that are, in fact, our own. Our unwillingness to look inward and confront what is truly within us is masked by this defense mechanism, which is a defense mechanism. Stoicism, which can be thought of as a compass for the inner life, leads us exactly in the opposite direction. This ancient philosophy imparts upon us the significance of self-awareness, honesty with oneself, and taking responsibility for one's own actions. It inspires us to delve deeply into our being, to acknowledge our shortcomings and our chateaus, and to deal with them in a way that is constructive and beneficial while maintaining our health. Stoicism encourages us to take responsibility for our own lives, rather than inflicting our insecurities and mistakes on other people. It serves as a reminder that true strength is derived from the capacity to be truthful with oneself, to acknowledge and accept one's flaws, and to make efforts to overcome those flawed qualities. It is an invitation to stop pointing fingers and to begin the process of offering a hand, first to ourselves and then to other people. Through the adoption of this philosophy, we liberate ourselves from the obligation to compensate for our shortcomings by transferring them to other people. When we face the challenges that lie within ourselves with bravery and honesty, we find that this is the path that leads to improvement and personal growth. Stoicism, therefore, is not only about overcoming challenges from the outside world, but also about prevailing over conflicts within ourselves, transforming our shortcomings into stepping stones on the path to personal development. Rapid shifts in mood are a whirlwind that have the potential to completely transform our world, not only for ourselves but also for those who are in our immediate vicinity. Do you ever wake up feeling like you're on top of the world, and then all of a sudden, something seemingly insignificant sends you into a downward spiral? In other words, this is the emotional roller coaster that we are discussing. But what if I told you that there is an antidote to this roller coaster that dates back thousands of years? Stoic philosophy is not something that should be relegated to the realm of dusty old books, rather. It is a potent instrument that can be utilized in the here and now. It is helpful to think of Stoicism as being similar to that wise and calm friend who is able to maintain their composure even in the midst of a hurricane. In addition to teaching us to look inward, it teaches us to comprehend our feelings and, most importantly, to not allow them to control us. Stoicism provides us with the ability to steer our emotional chariot with calm and intelligence, allowing us to avoid being puppets that are at the mercy of our mood swings. Let me let you in on a little secret. The secret is to accept all of our feelings, to feel them all, but to not allow them to define us. This does not mean that we should be unfeeling or uncaring, rather. It means that we should strive to achieve a state of equilibrium in which we are able to feel a range of emotions, including happiness, joy, frustration, and sadness, without allowing any of these feelings to control our lives. Instead of viewing our feelings as impediments to our development, why don't we start viewing them as opportunities for growth? It is important to keep in mind that at the end of the day, That which is both our greatest challenge and our greatest achievement is the ability to say, "I am the master of my emotions." Constant victimization along the path that we travel, we come across a variety of forks in the road and opportunities for difficulty. In its most fundamental form, life is comprised of experiences that put us to the test and cause us to question our own capabilities. At this point in time, we are presented with a significant decision that will determine the course that our lives will take, whether we will play the role of the protagonist or the victim. This trap, which is disguised as comfort, may appear to be a safe haven for those who are constantly victimized. After all, it is much simpler to place blame on the world and the circumstances for the challenges that we are confronted with. On the other hand, this could turn out to be a strategy that confines us, thereby restricting our capacity for development and transformation. Stoicism is a philosophical school that teaches us the value of having courage, taking responsibility for one's actions, and having the ability to triumph over challenges. It encourages us to take a reflection of ourselves, to acknowledge both our strengths and our weaknesses, and to act not as victims of our circumstances, but rather as architects of our own destiny. Achieving Stoicism in life means viewing challenges as opportunities for personal development and accepting them as such. It is the realization that, despite the fact that we are unable to control everything that occurs to us, we do have the ability to choose how we will react to the circumstances that we find ourselves in. In order to achieve the highest possible version of ourselves, we must demonstrate genuine bravery by accepting responsibility for our journey and transforming challenges into opportunities. A lack of interest in your requirements in a world that, at times, appears to be moving at an ever-increasing rate, it is simple to become preoccupied with our own pressing matters and forget to take a look around. Given the whirlwind of events and responsibilities that we are currently experiencing, it is possible to overlook one of the most fundamental aspects of humanity: empathy. When we disregard the requirements of other people, it is not simply a matter of forgetfulness, rather, it is a manifestation of a self-centered relational dynamic that causes us to grow apart. Stoic philosophy, which has been around for millennia, serves as a potent reminder of the significance of empathy, justice, and mutual respect. This philosophy not only teaches us to be resilient in the face of adversity, but it also encourages us to cultivate relationships that are founded on mutual support and understanding. In the end, every single person that we come into contact with along our journey is carrying their own set of challenges, aspirations, and requirements. Through the practice of empathy, we are able to put ourselves in the position of another individual and comprehend their requirements not as a burden, but rather as an opportunity to strengthen our connections and construct a community that is more cohesive and supportive. This entails paying close attention to what others have to say, providing assistance when it is required, and when it is necessary, sacrificing our own comforts for the sake of the well-being of others. Taking a position in our relationships that is characterized by empathy and justice is a daily exercise that contributes to our collective personal development. By engaging in the practice of empathy, we are able to acknowledge the inherent worth of every single person and the significance of attending to the requirements of one another. By doing so, we not only improve the quality of our own lives, but we also make a contribution to a world in which supportive relationships and mutual respect are the cornerstones of human interactions. Because of this, you should make empathy, justice, and mutual respect not merely admirable values, but rather active practices that you incorporate into your daily life. When we look beyond ourselves and pay attention to the requirements of other people, we not only cultivate relationships that are more profound and significant, but we also create a society that is more equitable and compassionate. In a world where pressure seems to be constant, where the shadow of intimidation and threats quietly looms over our heads, standing up can seem like a lonely journey. In this world, the use of intimidation or threats can be a way to motivate people to take action. Think for a second about what it would be like if we were able to face these challenges with the same level of composure and resolve as the Stoics. Stoicism, which is an ancient philosophy, is not merely a collection of far-off ideas, rather, it is a compass for life that points towards human dignity and justice as values that cannot be compromised. Stoicism instructs us to seek inner tranquility rather than giving in to the emotional storm that we experience when we are confronted with behaviors that are designed to control us or instill fear in us. Defending our safety and well-being becomes not only an act of bravery but also a responsibility that we owe to ourselves and the people in our immediate environment. The most important thing is to work toward creating an atmosphere of respect in which every individual is made to feel valued. At the same time that it is important to avoid being harmed, it is also important to avoid becoming the one who causes harm. Stoicism asserts that our actions and decisions are reflected in life consequently. Making decisions that are characterized by dignity and justice contributes to the creation of a world in which threats and intimidation do not find a place to flourish. As a matter of fact, the true forces that bring us together are mutual respect and understanding of one another. By embracing these values, we are able to overcome fear and discover not only peace but also a more meaningful purpose in life. Is it possible for you to take part in this ongoing transformation? Imagine living in a world where every like and every compliment becomes the foundation of our self-esteem. This would be an example of an excessive need for admiration. We forget who we really are as a result of this unrelenting pursuit of external validation, which causes us to become lost in a labyrinth of the expectations of other people. Nevertheless, what if we were able to alter that narrative? Stoic philosophy, with its ageless wisdom, provides us with an alternative way of journeying. Taking this ancient teaching into consideration, we are reminded that true value is not something that can be acquired from the outside, but rather something that is developed from the inside out. Stoicism encourages us to look inward, to cultivate a sense of self-worth that is genuine and unwavering, rather than relying on the approval of others as a means of securing our happiness. With the development of this inner fortress, our reliance on admiration from the outside world is reduced. While it is true that compliments are still appreciated, it is also true that they do not define who we are. A true sense of freedom is achieved when we acquire the ability to recognize and value our own worth apart from the spotlight and the applause. As we progress through this process, we come to realize that the approval that originates from within is the most valuable endorsement. Stoicism's true power lies in its capacity to help us discover peace and contentment in our own selves, rather than in the image that we present to the world of others. With that in mind, why not embark on this journey of self-discovery right now? Invasion of privacy. We live in a time when the boundary between public and private life is frequently hazy, and where a single click can open doors that ought to be kept shut. This invasion of privacy, which is an attempt at control that is also disguised as curiosity, is a clear violation of the dignity of the individual. If this is the case, then what does Stoicism have to say about it? Because it places such a strong emphasis on autonomy and dignity, Stoicism serves to bring to our attention the incalculable value of trust and mutual respect. When you violate the privacy of another person, you are not only showing disrespect, you are also denying that person the right to self-ownership if you do so. An attempt is being made to take control of a location that ought to be inviolable, which is the place where each of us stores our most private thoughts and our most profound emotions. But the act of respecting the privacy of another individual is therefore more than just a gesture of courtesy. It is an acknowledgement of the other person as an independent being who possesses their own rights and feelings. Understanding that the true strength of human relationships lies in integrity and mutual respect, which are the pillars that uphold trust and allow relationships to flourish on fertile ground of understanding and empathy, is the understanding that is included in this concept. Not only are we protecting the space of each individual, but we are also cultivating an atmosphere in which everyone has the opportunity to feel safe, respected, and valued. This is accomplished by fostering relationships that are based on these values. Stoicism, in this sense, encourages us to contemplate the significance of each and every action and decision, thereby reinforcing the notion that genuine harmony is achieved when we respect the boundaries of others as if they were our own. Stoicism serves as a powerful tool that can direct us toward empathy and authenticity, and we are reminded of its power. If you found that this journey resonated with you, please subscribe and share it so that you can help make the world a more understanding place. Together, we are able to transform our intentions into actions that have meaning.